All right, I'm about to give y'all a quickie. Hey, yo, what the? Look, I don't have much time, okay? I have people here, and they're about to ram me out of my room. I think it's deserving of a, you know, true horror story about an uninvited guest at my friend's
This
party.
happened around the year 2011 when I
Ooh.
was 13.
Grand Theft Auto?
One day my friend was planning on throwing a party at his place, so my older cousin drove me there.
Okay.
It took about 4 hours to get there, and when I finally arrived, it was around 8 p.m. A few hours later, we were having fun, but out of nowhere, I had to use the bathroom really badly. About 5 minutes had passed, and while I was in the bathroom, I heard a crunching noise coming from the woods.
Whoa.
At first, I thought it was someone who arrived late to the party.
In the
But
woods?
all of a sudden, I heard loud banging on the glass. I started to think it might be my friend just looking for me. So I told him that I was inside the bathroom. However,
Oh my gosh.
Good evening.
Yo, imagine seeing this while you're using the bathroom.
it was a guy who looked like he was in his late 50s. He said that his car broke down.
Nah, man.
He then
I'm
asked
using
me
the
to help
bathroom.
him, but I was already paranoid about strangers. So I simply told him that I couldn't help him.
I'm using the bathroom.
He nodded his head and walked away. When I was done using the bathroom, I went back to the room where my friend was. I told him what I saw and what the man said to me. My friend looked like he just saw a ghost. Then he finally said that for almost 2 months, this man was stalking his entire family and also saw him from the bathroom window tons of times. They asked the police to check their area several times, but they couldn't help his family.
What do you mean
When
they
he
couldn't
said
help him?
that, I thought he was overreacting until I heard the same banging noise now coming from the door. It was more violent now.
Hey.
Everybody paused what they were doing.
You chose the wrong
and looked at
night,
the
buddy.
door in shock.
I got a gang in my
One
house.
guest broke the silence and said it was probably only the pizza delivery man.
Yo, that's
But
not.
my friend told me not to answer the door at all costs. I looked through the peephole, and there he was. The same guy I saw through the bathroom's window. He had a psychotic-looking face and was licking his lips nonstop. We all just stood there in silence and hoped that the man would go away. But after a few minutes, the loud noise came from the basement. The guy threw a brick at the basement's window and crawled through it.
Bro, jump him.
Suddenly, it sounded as if a gunshot echoed through the entire house.
Never mind.
My friend and most of the partygoers screamed and ran out of the house.
All right, let's be real. How many of us would actually gang up with all our friends? Now, we might lose 1 or 2, maybe 3. I mean, yes, we'll lose assets, but the greater good.
Oh my God!
With a few others. One of the older kids was trained in martial arts. So I saw him assault and attack the man until he was shot. Afterward, the man escaped and ran into the woods. The whole scene was chaotic now.
Why did he attack by himself?
An ambulance and police car arrived soon after, and fortunately, the kid that was shot survived.
What about the guy?
After a few days of intense investigation, the police went to my friend's house and told him that they caught the guy.
Oh, let's go.
It turns out that he was living in the woods. He also kidnapped 3 kids, but luckily they were found in time and set free. But they also found out that he had already killed a few kids already.
Oh my gosh.
So after that, he was condemned to death for murder.
All right, this next one's by the homies Llama Art, and it's titled A Bus Stop Horror Story. Llama, I miss you guys. Please,
this happened when I was 17 years old. I would go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week and ride the bus home.
All right.
It was a Sunday and I had just missed my bus, so I had to wait longer for another one.
Wow, okay.
I would have called my parents, but they were out for the evening, and taxis charged more, so I decided to sit and wait in the bus shelter.
All right.
It was a cold night and snow had just started peppering the ground. My bus was taking longer than usual, so I got my phone out and listened to some music. Almost an hour had passed.
Bro,
it was freezing and I hadn't seen anyone at all. That was until I noticed something out of the corner of my eye.
What happened?
It was a creepy guy dressed in thick layers of clothing,
Bro, what are you
walking slowly towards me.
Back up, man.
I knew staring at him would draw more attention, so I just focused on my phone. He sat down at the other end of the shelter and just stared at me.
We have a problem.
There was something off about him. He seemed like he was either drunk or on drugs. He then asked,
"When is the bus due?"
I took out my
I don't know,
earphones and said,
"I think it's delayed because of the snow."
He stared at me for a while, then started mumbling to himself. He was
Bro.
really starting to creep me out, so I pretended to be on my phone. After a couple of minutes, I took another look. He moved closer to me.
Alright.
I looked away for a second, then heard the sound of him sliding even closer.
Alright.
I turned to him
man.
and said,
Yo, back up.
"You okay there?"
Oh, yeah.
He stared at me with glossy eyes.
Come on, man.
Lifted his arm and leaned towards me.
Oh, heck no.
Immediately,
Bro, weave.
I grabbed my bag
Oh
and
my
ran
gosh.
as he fell to the ground.
Bro, you're a
I
boxer.
ran down the road, trying my hardest not to look back. I kept going until I got to the next bus stop.
Dude, bounce.
I turned around to check to see if he was there.
There's no way.
He was gone, so
Yeah.
I went to sit down. Feeling relieved, I rested my head on the back of the glass
It's
and
not
waited
like-
for the bus.
I'd be fearful. He fell asleep. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh.
I jolted and turned around to see the same guy staring at me through the glass.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Bro.
Then he started walking around the shelter
Come
towards
here.
me.
I'm warning
Tia.
you. Stay back.
I yelled in panic as I was backing up. I wanted to run, but I
come
left
on.
my bag in the shelter and
Bro,
I
we
couldn't
not running.
leave without
This
it.
box.
I'm right, I'm right, I'm left, I'm left, I'm right, I'm right.
First, I froze in shock
Face
and
first.
noticed the blood coming from his face.
Oh.
I tried to get a response out of him, but nothing worked. I called the police and paramedics, and they arrived shortly after.
How'd they arrive before the
I
bus?
told them what had happened, and they told me that the guy was on prescription drugs.
Yeah.
They found a
figured.
photo in his wallet of him and his son. The boy looked just like me, so we assumed he thought I was him.
Oh.
I later learned that he had lost his son in a custody battle and went off the rails. He was taken away for treatment, and that was the last I saw of him.
Yikes.
I got my driver's license shortly after.
Yeah, so we never
and
taken the
have
bus again.
never
Yeah.
been on a bus since.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh, I like how they sneak that in there. I got time for one more. This one's called Scary True Horror Stories by Llama Arts. The homies. The homies.
I'm
The
27
homies.
years old. I live alone in a rural town in Virginia, about 2 blocks away from my parents.
All right.
My parents are both in their 60s,
Oh.
and my mom has become a very worrisome woman in her old age. Sometimes
Well,
she walks
that makes
over
sense.
uninvited and lets herself in, since I had
What?
regrettably given her a key, which can
kinda-
get a bit annoying. Like if I would be out really late on weekends at a bar or with women, I would sometimes come home to my mom sitting in the living room waiting, worried sick.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
I know you may just think,
No,
oh my
no.
god, that's crazy, why not just put your foot down and tell her to stop?
She is your
Well,
mom, though.
because you don't know my mom. It's very hard to describe her, but she's the kind of worrisome, innocent little lady that you just can't bring yourself to go against. And I hate to mention, she also has mild dementia.
Oh.
Anyway, this was Saturday night. I think it was around 2 in the morning. I was at a nearby club with a group of college friends.
Yeah.
Really the
In the club.
only place to hang out in this boring town. And I was getting ready to head home. I said goodbye to all my friends and walked the 3 blocks it took to get back to my house. I walked up my front stoop in my drunken haze and
Wait,
dug
he's
my hand in
drunk
my
and walking
pocket for
home?
my keys. When I grabbed the doorknob, I realized it was unlocked.
Mom is
My
in
mom
there.
was here again. I quietly opened and shut the front door.
Yo, I
locking
don't like
it
this first
behind me.
person.
I put my keys on the kitchen counter and found a note written in my
Got
mom's
this at our
handwriting
house.
saying, "You forgot this at our house,
What'd I
next to
forget?
the box of half-eaten cake my parents didn't want."
Oh.
I didn't see my mom anywhere, so I assumed she must have gone upstairs to sleep in the guest bed until I got back, which is something she would commonly do as well. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, confirming it,
Whoa.
and that's when I sighed once again. 27 years old, almost 3 in the morning, and she still has to wait up and treat me like a child.
You said that out
I
loud.
ran upstairs to check the guest bed, empty, along with all the bathrooms.
Hold on. Where is
I
she?
was afraid mom was having one of her episodes due to her condition,
Bro,
so
it's
I
not
ran to
Mom.
the phone to call my dad.
It's not mom.
After 4 rings, my dad picked up in a groggy voice, asking what the hell is the matter.
Oh my
After
gosh.
I told him that I heard mom wandering
Bro.
around upstairs in my house, there was a short pause, and then he said, "That's not possible, she's sleeping right next to me."
Oh my gosh. Leave. 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 Oh.
My mouth fell open as I turned my head to face the dark upstairs, and just barely by the light provided by the kitchen, I could see a head peering around from the corner at the top of the stairs,
Oh my
looking
gosh.
down at me.
What the freak?
I screamed into the phone as I ran out the front door and down the street to my parents' house, explaining to my father on the way. About halfway there, my dad told me, "Alright, I'm gonna call the cops," and hung up. I made it to my parents' house, where my mom was already waiting at the door worried sick.
Yeah, your mom is, bro.
My mom explained that she did come over to clean my kitchen a little bit and to bring over the cake they didn't want. 2 police cars pulled up in front of my parents' house, where they escorted me and my dad down the street to my house. 1 officer stayed outside with us, while 2 others went inside to investigate. It felt like 15 minutes before they came back outside and said it was clear. They checked the crawl space, the attic, everything. There was really nothing for me to report other than the door was left unlocked and I saw the outline of a head upstairs before I ran for it. Still, I didn't feel safe sleeping in there that night, so I went back to my parents' house. Me and my dad are certain that my mom simply forgot to lock the door when she left,
that's definitely
as her memory has been getting worse over the past few months. My dad has been stopping her from coming over alone from now on, which makes me both sad but also relieved.
Yeah.
Some nights, I still get paranoid that whoever was in my house that night never left.
Could still be there.
And is still hiding in here somewhere.